Today's spoiler video is brought to you by Card Kingdom. Use the link below to pre-order your cards today. Hello everyone, it's Seth, probably better known as Saffron Olive, and it's time for another daily dose of Ravnica Legion spoilers. And today, it's Gruul Day. We got the Gruul mechanic, a couple of Gruul cards, and one weird trickle out card from late yesterday. So actually 3 cards to talk about today as we slowly build the hype for the set through this really weird trickly spoiler season before we get to official spoiler season at the first of the year. So, like usual, gonna jump right into it, talk about these cards. It'll be a fairly quick video, but good lord, one of the cards today is pretty insane, and that is Gruul Spellbreaker. So, Gruul Spellbreaker, and also Frenzied Arnax, which, it's a limited card, show off the Gruul mechanic Riot. And Riot is actually really powerful. When a creature with Riot enters a battlefield, it enters with your choice of a +1/+1 counter or with haste, which makes the mechanic sort of reminiscent of Tribute, except a very better Tribute. With Tribute, as we see on Fanatic of Xenagos, which is kind of an interesting comparison to Gruul Spellbreaker, but with Tribute, your opponent got to choose. They got to choose, so they would give you the worst option. And with Riot, you get the choice of making your creature bigger or giving it haste, which is a really powerful effect. So if you look at Gruul Spellbreaker, which I think this card is pretty busted, you have a few different options here. First off, you can cast it as a 3/3 for 3 with haste, and it always has trample no matter what. Or you can cast it as a 4/4 for 3, still with trample but without haste, and as an added bonus, as long as it's your turn, you and also Gruul Spellbreaker have hexproof, which means your opponent can't blow you out with a Settle the Wreckage. They can't kill your Gruul Spellbreaker right away. So if we break down all the options on this card, it is pretty stunning how powerful this card is. So a 3/3 haste for 3, we don't have a perfect comparison. It's similar to Bogart Ramgang, which used to be really good in its standard. Also, we have things like Kenra Charioteers, Heller, the Fire Fletcher, but they're not really great comparisons. They have trample but not haste, so arguably Gruul Spellbreaker, if you choose the haste mode, is just a strict upgrade on all these other options, which were already at least close to being playable, and that's not even including the hexproof part of Gruul Spellbreaker. On the other hand, if you choose to put the counter on it, Gruul Spellbreaker is really in some rarefied company. There are very few 4/4s for 3 in Magic. You're looking at stuff like Loxodon Smiter, Savage Knuckleblade, which has a crazily hard mana cost, Charnel Troll, the most recent example, but it comes with a downside. You gotta fill your graveyard. It's pretty limited where you can actually play it. Gruul Spellbreaker is just a straight up 4/4 for 3 with trample. Like, it's all upside, and it even has the hexproof thing tacked on. So it's fine as a 3/3 haste for 3. It's great as a 4/4 for 3 with trample and all those other abilities, and then you can even kind of have a little bit of tickles thrown in, Giant Solifuge. It's not a perfect example, but the combination of haste and trample and hexproof means you're kind of guaranteed to get in an attack with it if you want to. Your opponent can't just kill it right away, which makes Gruul Spellbreaker really, really powerful. The other thing to mention about this card is if you read Riot, it says this creature enters with your choice of a +1/+1 counter or haste, which it's not relevant so much to Gruul Spellbreaker itself because of the hexproof ability, but this means that there is not a triggered ability going on the stack. It comes in with the counter if you choose it. So let's say Gruul Spellbreaker did not have hexproof, your opponent wouldn't be able to lightning strike it or wizard's lightning it and kill it because it's going to come in as a 4/4. It's not coming into play as a 3/3, putting a triggered ability on the stack where you get to choose, okay, do I want haste, do I want +1/+1 counter? It is coming into play with that ability, the one that you choose, which arguably makes Gruul Spellbreaker a lot more powerful. Like, yes, there's weird downsides. You can't, like, double up the trigger somehow or do weird things like that, but it actually makes it a lot more powerful that it's not a triggered ability sitting out on the stack for your opponent to mess it up while you're waiting to make your choice. So I think Gruul Spellbreaker is pretty insane, and that doesn't even include the fact that we're in a Llanowar Elves standard format. So I would expect that Gruul decks are going to be looking to play turn 1 Llanowar, play turn 2 Spellbreaker, and either have this massive 4/4 or just smash in for 3 right away and keep hitting for 3 turn after turn. So I think this card is incredibly good for standard. If there is a Gruul aggro deck deck, a Jund aggro deck, a 3-color aggro deck with red and green, very good chance this is a part of it, because no matter what option you choose, and it's so powerful because you get to choose, unlike Tribute, but no matter what option you choose, you're getting a pretty good deal. None of the choices are bad. This is like opposite of Punisher cards, because you get to make the choice, and every choice option, Gruul Spellbreaker is between a good and a great creature. So I think this card is going to see a lot of play in Standard. I'm not too much of a Gruul smashy aggro player, but even I'm excited about this card because it just seems very, very push based on its stats and abilities. We also got a late spoiler yesterday that kind of trickled out, Bedevil, and Bedevil is our new chase removal spell in the format. So double black and red for instant speed destruction of a artifact, a creature, or a planeswalker, which makes Bedevil kind of like our new version of Hero's Downfall. Hero's Downfall, lest you forget, was the chase removal spell of its standard format. And Bedevil, it does have a downside. It has that red mana thrown in, also a little bit similar to Dreadbore, except you add on one more black mana to gain instant speed, and it gets to blow up artifacts as well, which is kind of relevant in our current format. We see things like the Immortal Sun, Treasure Map, Azur's Gateway seeing a ton of play in the format, so even though you're mostly going to be killing creatures or planeswalkers, there will be times, if you're playing like a Jund planeswalker deck with Veraskas and maybe Karns, that you're really going to need to kill Immortal Sun, and having your Bedevil just randomly be able to blow up Immortal Sun as well is a really huge upside. So this means that a deck like Jund in Standard has just an absurd removal suite. If you look at the removal a deck like Jund has, you have Assassin's Trophy, kills anything. Bedevil kills almost anything, misses out on enchantments, I guess. And then Vraska's Contempt, planeswalkers or creatures, so you can just play these spells, have almost perfect removal, and then back that up with some really good threats. Vraska's multiple versions, Carnage Tyrant, if you can just kill your opponent's blockers every turn, closes out the game incredibly quickly. So I think Bedevil is a huge deal for Standard. I think this card is going to be really, really good. The one thing I've heard some people say is, well, the mana cost. The mana cost, you need 2 black and a red. That's really hard to do. But come on, we're playing in a Standard where Crackling Drake, which has an absurd mana cost, Golgari Vinebroker, Niv Mizzet, triple blue, triple red are some of the best cards in the format. So I think we'll get by playing double black and a red for an upgraded version of Hero's Downfall. So I'm expecting this card to see a lot of play. It is a reason to play the Rakdos colors, Jund colors, and I think it's really going to shake up the format. The removal in this format with Assassin's Trophy, with Bedevil, with Vraska's Contempt is going to be incredibly strong, and this is a card, keep an eye out for Modern as well. It's competing sort of with like Kolaghan's Command, but there is a chance, like we see Dreadbore show up, Hero's Downfall not so much, but there might be a chance that the fact this has so much flexibility will find it slipping into Modern sideboards as well, because it could be your Planeswalker hate for Teferi, it could be your artifact hate against Hardened Scales, against Affinity, and you could just blow up a random creature that comes down to attack you. So this card's great. I'm super excited for it, and I think that brings us to the end of our daily spoilers for today. So let me know what you think. What do you think of these crazy cards? How good is Gruul Spellbreaker? What do you think about the mechanic in general? How powerful should we expect it to be in Standard? And what does Bedevil do to the format? Is Jund going to dominate? The removal is just so good. What do you want to play it in? Can it show up in Modern? Let me know in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will talk to you soon. Thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, help us out by clicking that like button down below. And to keep up on all the latest and greatest, click that subscribe button. And don't forget to hit that bell icon to get alerts whenever we have new videos. And if you want to, check out some of our other sweet videos here and here.